Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the John Hansard Gallery podcast, Gallery Assistance. My name is Luke. I'm just doing a short recording before the actual podcast itself, just to say that I'm joined by Amy Scott Pillow and Piers Inkpen. You will have heard these two members of staff already on the podcast in previous episodes. I'm also joined by another member of staff who's not been on before. You'll be introduced to them shortly. I just wanted to say, enjoy the podcast. We'll be opening again to the public as of tomorrow. It should be uploaded today, which is Tuesday the 1st. And you'll be able to come and see the work, Seaside Photographed. So yeah, sit back and enjoy. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm glad to have you all here. We have a very, very special gallery assistant with us today. Would you like to introduce yourself, Louise?
I'm Louise. I'm the newest member of staff. I only joined as a permanent member in September after being a casual from when the gallery opened. And I'm pleased to join you.
And we're very happy to have you, Louise. Always with your yellow.
Always with the yellow and a hat.
And a hat. Well, that's the thing, yeah. If anyone's following the John Hansard Gallery Instagram, you will recognise Louise from her lovely hat posts and sculptures. Have you got any? You've got some more of those coming up, haven't you, Louise?
Yeah, I'll be putting one out later today around Southampton. Obviously, with the lockdown, first off, I was looking at my international photographs, dreaming of the time when we can travel again, and sharing the pieces that I've seen before. And then because we're at home now, it occurred to me that there's a lot of art and sculpture, which is my passion, around Southampton and around our areas. So that sometimes you see them, but because they're there all the time, you don't really appreciate them. So it's been interesting to take pictures of the sculpture that we've got locally, and to share them to hopefully help people remember the sculptures that we've actually got outside, because we can't go to the galleries again at the minute. To try and enjoy the sculptures and the pieces that we've actually, in our midst to go and visit.
Well, because that was actually, I remember you asking each of us if there was any sculptures in town that we could actually recall, and I'll be honest, I couldn't think of any. And then I saw your Instagram post, and then I realised there's way more than I realised.
That's right.
What's that one that's? It's in. I mean, it's obvious when I say it's in one of the parks. It's near the cenotaph at the other end of that parkway. It's like a cube.
Yeah, it's in Watts Park, and it's a tribute to people in Southampton. I did go, one that you'll see this afternoon is it's a feather and Woolston, and it was built as a little park in Woolston. And so, which I've driven past a lot, and when I actually went and took photographs, I noticed that on the ground, the bricks on the ground have all got names of people that were died in the Titanic.
Oh, really?
So, I thought it was just a piece of modern art and a piece of a garden for reflection, people. But when you go and look at these pieces, you find out what they actually represent. I knew maritime idea, a lot of names from Titanic, so it's obviously that as well linked. So it's interesting to see your local ones that you didn't know what the connection was.
Yeah, I had no idea that Worcester one was Titanic related.
No, I didn't.
Because they had the museum down by, I think it's now the Dancing Man. I feel like they would have referenced that, at least in some way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, weird. But in relation to what you just spoke about there, I think that's, I guess, a helpful segue into one topic that we can discuss. We were given the task of having sort of Instagram projects or posts, if you like, each of us, at the beginning of lockdown. So the last episode that we did for the podcast was 6 months ago, and a lot's happened since then. Louise, you're obviously keeping it going with your hat posts and sculpture posts, and that's amazing. Mine have slowed down and have become non-existent, but each of us, we all had different posts. Amy, you had, was it What's on Your Wall? Is that right?
Yeah, it was What's on Your Wall, which was I asked all the staff at the gallery to send photographs of the artwork that they have in their own homes. So I thought it's quite interesting to see what like we all work at Contemporary Art Gallery, but we all have our own individual tastes and what interests us. It's exciting to see what people send in. Or what they sent in at the time. And obviously I know who sent what in. So it's quite surprising some of the submissions I got, and seeing how different people's tastes interacted with like maybe my perception of them and who I'm working with, which I thought was fun.
Did you put any of your own up?
Yeah, definitely.
Go on.
It was
What
quite
were
fun.
yours?
I think I had quite a few actually, because I've got quite a few. There's a painting I'm looking at right now, which is on my wall. It's one that my friend did at uni, and he's colourblind.
Oh, really?
He's a painter. He did loads and loads of paintings.
Are the colours all skew with, or?
I didn't think they were until he was like, "Yeah, I'm colourblind. I don't actually know what it looks like." I was like, "What?"
That's crazy.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Sam? He's like, "I learnt this in third year." He's like always been this amazing painter. And yeah, like I was like, "Oh, he does some really bold colour choices, and it's because he doesn't know."
Wait, so he was in his third year of university, and it wasn't until then he realised he was colourblind?
No, until I knew. I think he always
okay.
never mentioned it. And then he was packing up his studio. He's like, I don't know what to do with all these. And I went, "Can I have that one?" And I went, he said, "Yeah, sure." So I've had it ever since, and I made him sign it, and I love it.
That's very cool.
And no one else likes it. Don't know why.
I want to see what it looks like now. Is it on the Instagram?
It's on the Instagram.
Okay,
It's like
I'll have to check it
an
out.
abstract. I think it's an abstract potted plant.
Wait, that's what you think it is, or is that what it is?
That's how I'm interpreting it.
Oh, okay. I get you. See, this is the thing. I'm
probably hanging it upside down.
It could be a landscape. Who knows? Is it portrait?
It is portrait, I think.
Because I look at the stuff.
It's hung the way he signed it on the back. So
that's a good indication.
Yeah.
Because I look at the stuff. I'm not kidding. Above my desk at home right now, I'm staring at it. I basically have a picture frame, and it's got a photograph in it that's not the right way up. It's not mounted. It's sitting at the bottom of the frame, and I've just never done anything to it. I don't know why that's the case. But because you're right, yeah, we work in Contemporary Art Gallery. You'd think everyone is just slapping stuff on their walls, but for me personally, I just don't know what to put on. I've got a pile of, I don't know what you want to call them.
Some things for it.
Did I send you one thing? The Spider-Man?
You sent me Spider-Man. You sent me that print you bought from the shop as well.
The print that I bought from the shop is still on the floor.
It's still not mounted and framed.
Not mounted. Well, apparently I've got a frame which it could go into. But I want to wait till I've got my own place so I can just plaster it everywhere, if you know what I mean.
That's fair enough. I think that's why I've got so much now.
Do you want to put more?
Editions, my two enormous yellow pictures.
Oh yes.
Are these your own creations, Louise?
Yes, they are a metre square. They are yellow. I am going to do more to them, maybe, but they're up on my walls and they look fabulous. Of course, yellow being my favourite colour. At the moment, that's enough for me.
Have you ever wanted to sell them?
How can you tell if they're on there if all your walls are yellow as well?
No, the walls aren't yellow. Only one wall on this.
Oh, feature wall.
Inherited, natural, neutral.
Would you ever sell the stuff that you make, Louise?
I tend to give it away. I'd like to sell my work because I would be able to do more of it, but I tend to give it away. If people like it, just give it to them.
Let's all go around Louise's house and just start pointing at stuff that we like.
Yeah.
Abuse her kindness.
Well, I don't know, Louise. Louise, you're up for giving it to me, aren't you, Louise?
Not the yellow ones.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I'll give that a miss. Piers, what did you have Instagram posts? I feel like you did.
Yeah, I guess mine was mainly actually it makes me trying to think what we did. I did a few sort of personal ones about the gallery. I did a post about missing space to create, um, and talked about that time we all made houses and we made that little village, which was brilliant.
Oh,
And then
they're the little paper houses.
yeah, they were great, and especially seeing everybody's pieces. Because look, yours was I can remember yours. Yours was sort of medieval, wasn't it? At one
Mine
point.
was, oh god, I would never class myself as good in any way at illustration or colouring in, and a friend of mine can testify to that. I did a paint by numbers flower once, and I got so annoyed that I just ripped it up. And that's colour by numbers, and that's arguably the easiest thing. But yeah, it was an attempt at a medieval, I don't know, I guess a cottage maybe made out of stone.
Mm.
But yeah, those paper houses were very cool because everyone's looked so different.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Cat made I think some like 3-tiered story haunted
she did.
house. Amy, did you make yours out of the old Time After Time like JHG like printouts?
I did make one like that. Yeah. Yeah, I did.
What happened to those? All the houses?
Oh, I never got to pick mine up, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know if they got either people took them away or maybe they got recycled, for want of a better word.
That just sounds depressing. I'm sure they're somewhere, surely. Maybe they're like hidden under the desk somewhere.
But apart from that, no, there was that, and then just working on the website page for all of the staff that want to show what they do, and we've had some really good submissions at the moment, and we're just looking to build that. It's really nice to have something where you can have a look and see, a bit like this podcast, see what we do behind the scenes, because although you get to talk to us, you rarely get to see what we're interested in and what we make, and how different it is, and how our interests differ from, and also relate at times to what's going on in the gallery.
Go on, Piers, plug away. Where would we find the webpage that you're talking about?
Oh, the webpage. Oh, what the creative stories. If you're on the webpage and you scroll down to, I think it's events, and you load more, you'll find creative stories there, and you'll get to see a variety of our work and our writing as well.
And this is jhg.art, if I'm correct.
That's absolutely correct. We can't get that wrong, otherwise there won't be a podcast.
No, I'm very grateful that you brought that platform to the forefront, because yeah, like you say, we're all creatives, and by no means do we feel that because we work at the gallery we deserve to have our work shown. But like you say, yeah, we talk to all these people coming in. We have regulars, we have people that are just curious on the day, and yeah, it gives us a chance to show, at least to some people, if they are curious and they're on the website looking at whatever it is that we're showing.
I'd also add to that that lockdown itself had provided all of us with a platform to sort of give more of ourselves over. Because if you think of all of the Instagram stories, like what Amy had done, what you had done, Luke, with like reading corners, and we had that World Book Night as well.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be more, perhaps different from other galleries, that at times, I think, because they're such a large institute, there isn't, you can't really put faces to the gallery, whereas because we're a little smaller, I think personalities and characters seem to seep through a bit more. And I think on Instagram this year, and our website, we've been able to sort of imbue the gallery with sort of more of a human character, and people get to know people's likes, their interests, and what motivates them to work in the gallery, I think.
Yeah, no, I'd completely agree. I think obviously lockdown presented many challenges for everyone around the world.
Mm.
But for the gallery, yeah, I think it was a huge achievement for all of us to have personality come through, because you see, I'm not naming any names or any other pages, but a lot of the time there's just sort of like this faceless facade, if you like, of many businesses, and you don't really get a feel for the people that work there, who, if you do go to these places, you'll be engaging with. And I think we can pride ourselves on how we talk to people when they come in and the conversations that we have with them. And if that can come across online as well as in person, which obviously we're lacking a lot at the moment, I think that's a huge benefit for our digital platform, if I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, and I think we're going to utilise that more in the future as well, which is really good. I think having the pandemic, you can't quite, not that we ever did, but I think our physical presence as well as our digital presence has to be, they need to be equal.
Yeah.
And because they're almost intrinsic now, they're sort of connected. It was just such a shame we only opened for like 3 days. Because suddenly all of the stuff that we had online and the comments and the sort of connections, we could then practice physically. But it was only for 3 days, and it was such a shame. But they were really good 3 days.
They were great 3 days. And for anyone that doesn't know or has been away from the news, the day that we opened our newest show at the gallery was also the day that we found out we'd be closing again. After about, I mean, Amy, you're on the tech team. Was it a month of install and deinstall?
Yeah, I think a total of 4-5 weeks. We were deinstalling and installing the show,
which was
figuring out different protocols to install as well, and keeping your distance and separate tool trolleys and all sorts. So it was a different way of working as well.
And getting the paint right.
Sorry?
And getting the paint right.
Oh yeah. We don't talk about
that. Is there a paint gate?
There were some of the walls in the gallery are painted grey, and some of the walls are white, and some of the walls are a different shade of grey that are very, very similar.
Oh, I see.
So when one technician picks up a tin of paint and goes, right, that wall's going to be grey, and another picks up another tin of paint and goes, I'll help you, I'll just paint alongside you and we'll meet in the middle, it all goes wrong.
50 Shades of Grey.
Oh no.
Well, we should talk about that no further. I don't want that to spill into anything else. But the newest show, I think that's a lovely little segue into another topic that we can discuss. Seaside Photographed. We had 3 wonderful days so far of seeing the show. And for those that aren't aware, it is a photography show that is touring around England. I don't believe it goes outside England. Is that right?
Maybe not. I guess it probably doesn't make much sense to go anywhere else, maybe, but I'm not sure.
So it came from Turner Contemporary, then it's now with us, and I believe it'll be going to Penzance next. And yeah, the whole show is photography based. It's about the seaside in England and how it's been documented by various different photographers throughout the years. And I think it's great. I don't know what everyone else thinks, but
is it just England or is it Britain?
I think it's.
Is it specifically England?
I don't know. I feel like maybe Britain we should say, but I can't recall any specific locations that I've seen while reading the plaques. I might be wrong. Of like Welsh seaside or Scottish seasides. Are they? I don't know if they've been documented, but
I can't remember any about outside of England.
But
because I only mentioned just because you always think, the Great British Seaside, and seaside holidays, at least for me, were spent also in Wales.
Really?
Yeah.
Was there a difference? Would you say?
No.
No.
No, I don't think so. Other than everything was in Welsh.
But did that make it harder to read?
Usually there's English underneath though, so.
Oh, okay.
And some of the locals would only speak Welsh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this was in Anglesey, where I used to go.
I'm not familiar with that. Where that is?
It's right at the top.
The little island. Isn't
It's an island, yeah. I would call it the pig's ear, because if you look at Wales, it looks like a pig, but I don't know who told me that. And it looks like the ear of the pig.
I didn't even know Wales had islands.
Yeah, it's an island.
when I went there, they still had the police cars were still the old Mini because it's a tiny island. So they only got the tiny police car.
Amazing.
Oh, I see.
There's
Anglesey.
a racetrack there, which is why my family used to go there. My stepdad used to race a little Peugeot 205 around a track. It was tin tops racing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we used to go up to Anglesey, and I would go and hang out on the beach.
Did you go in the arcades?
No, there wasn't an arcade there, so maybe it was
God.
different.
Oh my god, that's Seaside without an arcade.
It was all surfing.
Oh, okay. It
was a lot more. It was a lot more similar to going to Cornwall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's got very good waves there.
I had to go surfing once. It didn't go
Did
very
you?
well. Did not go very well. No, I was.
You'd be better at it now.
I probably would be better at it now. I have a bit more balance to me. Although it's just, I don't know. If it's when you start paddling, and then the wave just washes past you, and you're like, oh god. again, and then you're paddling again, and it's just repeated failures.
I want to give it a go.
Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fun, and being in the water is just such an enjoyable experience. I mean, the show makes reference to, I don't think nowhere is further than 70 miles from the coast or something.
Very true.
And yeah, I think from Southampton myself, there's no surfing scene that I know of. Mainly because there's nowhere to surf.
There's nowhere to surf.
Unless you start kicking off in the channel.
Yes, because we've got the channel, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably does make it a bit
difficult.
And
we're at the mouth of two estuaries, really. So we have Southampton water before you even get to the Solent.
Mm.
I think it's one of the busiest stretches of water.
It is, yeah.
Isn't the journey from the Isle of Wight, well, from Southampton to the Isle of Wight, respective of its distance, one of the most expensive crossings?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it was when I took Ryan to the Isle of Wight last year.
Cost me 40 quid.
It cost £60.
£60, not each.
In the car, 30 on the way there and 30 on the way back.
No, I mean, it's not too. I mean, it could be worse.
To take the car. So it was just a day trip. I thought it was quite a lot.
Oh, for a day trip, yeah, that is a lot.
Yeah.
We can't afford lunch. No, we're gonna have to sell the car. I think I guess that's probably why the show is in Southampton, because of the location to the sea, right?
That would make sense. We have a very interesting city to have a show about the seaside, because we don't have the seaside.
That is a very good point.
It's not in like Portsmouth or something, especially like Southsea, and how sort of integral their like sort of, whether you'd call it like a coastline is to them, because in Southampton, I mean, I guess there's Victoria Country Park, which was sort of between Southampton, or sort of further away. But we don't really have, like, I don't know. Is it Mayflower Park, Amy? And like you can go there and sit in your car, and have a look at some, cruise liners and some cranes.
Where's Mayflower Park? Where's that?
In the town centre.
It's it's behind the big hotel, and like behind Yeah,
Is it? Oh, near Cooties.
that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I know where it is.
Used to be more of a park as well, with a playground and everything, and we used to spend a lot of our summers there. But
yeah.
there used to be a pool, a paddling pool, and swings and slides and
And the concrete
climbing things.
maze.
Yeah,
A concrete
and that's all
maze.
gone.
Yeah, I
it
wrote
used
a
to be
poem
quite
about it.
popular.
you did.
I did. It's in the zine.
That sounds
Check that out,
amazing.
everyone.
Could you see over the
Nice.
top of it?
Nice segue. What's that?
Could you see over the top of the maze?
Yeah, it was probably only about barely a meter tall, probably about 70 centimeters tall.
Oh, wow.
Forgotten about.
Why would they get
When
rid of
you're
such
a kid, and it was pebble dashed, and it was horrible. You'd run around on it, you'd graze your skin, and
Oh, no.
crack your teeth open when you climb on it and fall off it.
Oh, so it sounds like a health and safety hazard.
It was a great park.
It was a health and safety hazard, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what makes
But
parks
it's very
great.
busy, wasn't it? It's a very busy park. A lot of families and a lot of
Always.
people there. Yeah, it was very popular.
It's still quite a busy location, I feel, but I don't know if that's more so from people just pulling up and sitting in their car just to see that. Because, like you say, yeah, we are a seaside town, but yeah, the access to the sea is minimal, to say the least.
I think Mayflower
we had to
Park
go
is the
try.
only place at least in the centre of the city, that you can actually get to the water. But even then, you can't, dip your toes or anything, because it's it's gross. But it's all it's all concrete, and it's all like about 10 foot up from the water most of the time.
I think Mayflower Park is just an extended McDonald's car park, in that people go to McDonald's and then they go, "Oh, we'll go there." But I remember one time I was there with David. We were there late, and because it was so dark, I nearly went over the edge.
What? Really?
Yeah, there's only like a small like a raised concrete bit, like I guess you like paving or something. David was like, whoa, and I was like, oh, what? And then yeah, you just see over the edge. So that was pretty scary.
Where were your headlights?
But
I like driving in the dark. That sounds terrifying.
I remember before a lot of that was reclaimed. So most of that area is all reclaimed area. We couldn't actually go in the water, but there was a lot more water there.
Well, our friends at God's House Tower, where that building is, that was where the water used to come up to. Is that right?
Oh,
correct. Yeah. In a very long time ago.
A very long time ago, of course, yeah, but
only 100 years ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The water. So the reclamation of the land started in, I think it was 1930, because the first building to go on that land was the Solent Flour Mills that is still there, but I think they were planning on knocking it down. People have been signing petitions and protesting to not knock it down, because it was one of the first buildings built on the reclaimed land.
Yeah.
And that was built in 1930, and I know this because I exhibited at God's House Tower, and the show there was all about the fact that Southampton has no seaside or access to the water. And one of the workshops I ran was to do with map making and where you are from in the city and your sort of cultural heritage here. And someone brought a gorgeous OS map of Southampton that from 1930, and the only thing it looked like it was still water, but it was just a brick, like a line on the map, just denoting where the land was just reclaimed up to, and then one building, which was that flour mill.
Really?
Yep.
So they reclaimed it with the intention of putting everything else on it, or was it just?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all that land, it's only 90 years old. That land, where Toys R Us is, and Mayflower Park, and
that is mental.
Everything else, and IKEA, and the sort of industrial estates down there that you don't have any access to.
Which we can't
dry dock.
About Southampton, and that it's by the sea, is that the amount of times like we've been out and walked around Southampton, and particularly had gone skating also, whenever we're on the top of rooftops in Southampton, I always think that we're on some big sort of boat, and it seems like all of the buildings are large boats, and especially when you're looking from one of the car parks we skate on, and you see the boats move behind IKEA. They look like sort of floating or sort of moving buildings.
Yeah, we do.
So that's something about Southampton. I don't know if it's sort of in the brickwork really, that there's something coastal about it, even if there isn't much of like a seaside vibe to it.
I guess we
I
have
think-
such a strange perception of the city when we've all been here so long, but we go to all these other places to actually experience the seaside.
Mm.
Like Hayling Island, there's some images of Hayling Island in the show, and it wasn't until I should have read the name of the actual image, but it wasn't until our manager Ben actually pointed out that they were Hayling Island that I even realised I'd been there, and I knew exactly. I'd even been in the building that the picture is of, but it's now a cafe. But I'd rather go to Hayling Island or anywhere else in the UK to experience the seaside. It's so weird. It's such a strange feeling now that I think about it.
Beach. There's no beach. There's no access. It's all privately owned by shipping companies, I presume. British Export. I can't remember the initials of the company, but it's all owned by one company that control the docks, basically.
Yeah, that's rubbish.
And actually, there's some properties down there that, if you know Queen's Park and Southwestern House,
No.
opposite.
I don't know anywhere else anything is in town, apparently.
There's you don't know anything about town. If you're going to go to Ocean Village,
Yep.
And you've got the road that goes past the Red Funnel, and then
Oh yeah,
a bit further down there's a park that's called Queen's Park.
Mm-hmm.
There's some buildings there that have been converted into flats. But if you've got a one of the flats that backs onto the actual docks, you aren't allowed to open your windows.
What?
They're locked because of security of like imports and immigration and that sort of thing.
Can you look out the window?
You can look out it, but you can't open your window. Legally, you cannot open your window. Just in case you're like smuggling imports or something.
That is.
I'm going to get a flat there just so I could do that now.
That's
Loads
so
of
bizarre.
money.
Yeah, I only know this because my family were looking to buy a property there, and that's what the estate agent said to them. So you're not allowed to open the windows. At least the ones that are on the port side.
I don't even know what to say. That's the weirdest thing I've heard in a while.
Well, that just proves to you how little access you have to the the seaside.
Don't even access the fresh air anymore if you live there. My God. I mean, yeah, back onto the show, at least. Did anyone have any standouts for the 3 days that we've seen it so far? We will be opening again, of course, in very due course. Next week. We believe it will be next week once lockdown finishes.
We should be in tier 2. Touch wood.
Fingers crossed. My personal favourites were of... I can't remember the guy's name. I'm very bad with names. And it's of really huge crashing waves. It's in Gallery 2. And the crazy thing is, the guy is using a huge camera. I think it's 8x10. So he'd have the hood over his head. He'd have had a massive tripod. It's in the 1930s that they're taken. And these waves are massive. And it turns out the guy had to be tied to the shore so that he wasn't washed away when taking the photos.
Wow.
Absolutely mental.
Wow.
That's dedication.
That is dedication. I'm trying to think of what would be a modern day like similarity you could possibly pull off in the same vein. Obviously there are big waves that we see those in storms and people do get washed away, but I guess that would just be the same, I guess.
Mm. It's the image of the huge camera and all the equipment that he must have, and then the chance that a wave hits him and he has to hold onto the camera and all the equipment he's got, and it would probably damage it if he got hit.
At least,
Surely.
for example, the camera itself wouldn't be electrical in any way, so there's no damage there.
I'm just thinking water, like the salt water.
But yeah, the salt water would
the chemicals on the
Film.
on the glass.
Mm-hmm. The image would be ruined for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would be. Oh my god! Yeah, he'd be bracing onto his camera. People watching on the shoreline. You right, mate? You right?
Would have looked quite mad at that time, especially.
I wish someone would have photographed him.
Yeah.
With the wave in front of him. Just, I don't know.
But no one else probably would have had a camera.
No, I guess.
In the 1930s.
I think, well, people probably would have had cameras, but maybe the quality would have been great.
Cameras weren't like the first sort of widely available camera equipment. Wasn't that sort of more in the 50s, like with the box brownie?
I've never actually used one of them.
Box brownies. I've got one of them. I'll let you borrow it.
Oh, cheers, mate. You never get it back. I'll be taking pictures of waves and get washed away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we'll take pictures of you, so it's recorded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Louise. You know, pass on peace of mind. You know, he went down doing what he loves best. Taking pictures of a big wave.
The thing I'll take from the 3 days that we were open was I was talking to someone in the gallery, I can't remember who now, and he was just saying how poignant the exhibition is, because all the pictures were taken when going to the British Seaside was the holiday resort, and now with the travel restrictions and the fear of going abroad, that it's come full circle. So next year maybe people, and this year people have stayed at home and stayed at England, and they've actually rediscovered the British Seaside. So it was like the buoyancy of the exhibition in that relation.
Oh, definitely. I think because of the lockdown, I've definitely discovered areas close to me that I had no idea existed. Like I'm about a half an hour, 40-minute walk from the Test Wildlife Reserve.
Where's that?
About a 45-minute walk from my house.
Oh, right. No, is that...
Obviously Southampton has the Itchen River and the Test River that join together at Southampton Water.
Yeah.
I live in Maybush, so not far away from me. You've got the Test River, sort of Redbridge Way, and there's a whole sort of nature reserve with boardwalks on it, cows, gorgeous scenery, river that you can go swimming in. That me and my partner did some swimming. So.
Oh, is this the place you were trying to get us to go down?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my god. Oh well, we'll have to go there at some point. That sounds great.
There's a salmon leap down there as well, where you can see all the salmon leaping when they're in season.
Didn't know that.
Let's get the wetsuits out.
Yeah.
Try and catch some salmon. Well, I know that's a very good point, Louise, that you made about bringing up the full circle, because yeah, when people talk about I'm going on holiday, it is almost a guarantee that they're not going to be in the UK. And yeah, growing up, I don't know. Maybe it's not so much now. It might be. I might be wrong, but going to like Cornwall or Devon was a huge part of my childhood, at least, and that's why I love arcade so much. Just because you can't get the same fix of putting in a 2p on a slot machine anywhere else.
There's always caravan parks.
Is that why you're so good at the arcade machines? Because whenever I don't know if it was you, we went bowling, or just you were good at the claw stuff. I could never do it. I
love the claw machine. It is. Oh, I just can't even describe it. I've been to Hailing Island so many times. Back in the day, I don't know if they still do. I imagine they still do when they're open. But they did an unlimited wristband, and for £10. So for £10, you can go on any ride as many times as you want all day. What a bargain! It was it was so good. And then at Hailing Island, at least, there's I think maybe two. There might be a third and a fourth. I might be making the third and fourth one up. Arcades, and I'd be ripping open that Velcro wallet, getting the pound coins out, and just going mental on the crane machine. I think that's why I'm enjoying the show so much, because there is so much nostalgia that gets rummaged up. And yeah, I think you're right, Louise. People will be going back to the seaside more so now. It's the pandemic.
Yeah, and staying in England a lot longer. Yeah.
Bloody pandemic.
I think, well, also because people are going to have less money, presumably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's
that's very
It's
true.
a cheaper holiday. And it's just as good, in my opinion.
It's great. Seaside holidays, the smell of dirty seaweed, seagulls going crazy in the sky, fish and chips. Oh, yes.
Your chips getting stolen.
The chips of course, yeah. Now, what was it? I was in the kitchen the other day, and on Radio 2, Jeremy Vine was talking. The whole segment was about this specific town where they've got a real problem with seagulls.
Okay.
And people are feeding the seagulls, and then because of that, they're just pooing on everything, and they're stealing people's food. And it was just this huge segment about seagulls just ransacking this whole area. And it was great, but that's what you love about the seaside. I'm surprised there's no photographs in the show of just seagulls attacking people.
Me too.
Go on, Piers, have you got a favourite?
Vicious in St Ives.
Vicious?
Have I got a favourite?
Sorry, Piers, I want to come back. I'll come back to you, but I just want to hear about these vicious seagulls.
Yeah, vicious, trying to get your things in St Ives. It's scary.
Have you got a story to tell there, Louise? Have you been attacked?
Well, I was advised not to eat my fish and chips on the front because of these vicious seagulls. But it was a glorious day, and I didn't believe how vicious these seagulls were going to be. And it's scary. They kind of dive bomb you, so they kind of from a distance come and dive bomb you, and they've got you in the target, and they're quite big seagulls as well. And I tried to hide my fish and chips, obviously, but they're very aggressive, and stole my fish and chips in an aggressive way, so I retreated.
I have got this absolutely wonderful, obviously at your expense, Louise, I'm so sorry, image of you just cowering over your fish and chips while these seagulls dive down.
Yeah.
They could make a movie
of
about
Robert Pattinson in The Lighthouse. And, and that's how Louise would have reacted, but probably not the best.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah. You haven't seen The Lighthouse, Louise?
I know, it's terrible. I should see it, I know, but
it's a very bizarre film, but I think, it's beautifully shot. It is
great reviews.
Stunning. But yeah, there's a certain scene with the seagull that I think...
I'll try and see it.
Maybe goes too far, but to some extent, it's an enjoyable moment.
Yeah, you'll get your own back.
Yeah.
Watch
the film while eating fish and chips, and you'll have a great time.
Yeah.
Sorry, Piers. Yeah, going back to you. Were you going to mention any work that you like?
Have I got a sort of favourite piece? I think I don't know. I think just the general, maybe not anything individual, but I just think the general sort of atmosphere that's contained in each of the photographs. Because I find the seaside sort of like quite a sort of a melancholy place.
Okay.
But it's quite comfortably like that, and I think and it might just be there's a lot of empty spaces in this show. So there's lots of images of places without people, and opposite to that as well. But I think I like the barrenness of the British seaside at times when the sort of the day holiday comes to an end, and there's sort of nothing left, or there's sort of remnants, and then you move on to the seaside in the winter time when nobody's really there. I think that's what I take away. I think one of the things I keep thinking of is I don't know who's the photographer, but it's that pink like wagon outside of a building, and just
that's the Hailing Island one.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just so, even though it's like really vibrant, there's something desolate about it, and it's like sort of dusk, and there's that sort of quietness to the seaside that I think just sort of inspires the imagination, really. But yeah, that's the stuff I really like.
Well, we've been having a great time as well on the mirrors.
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
So in the show, there are, when you go into Gallery 1, it's more than likely going to be the first area of work that you're going to see. It says Seaside Photographed in lovely orange neon. And then underneath there is a series of 5, I think, maybe 6 mirrors. And they're the ones that, excuse me, warp your, what's the word, proportions, if you like. And my God, the seeing yourself in those is just an absolute joy. But you don't really see them at Seaside, so I guess you do. I'm just thinking of Polton's Park more than anything.
Fun
Don't know why.
houses.
Fun houses, yeah.
Ooh, fun houses, that's a great shout. I'm surprised there's not more images of fun fairs, or at least of the rides and things like that. I feel like you could there's a lot of work there. What was that, sorry?
Brighton Pier.
Yeah,
Makes me think of all those rickety rides on Brighton Pier.
Mm.
I've not been to Hailing Island.
Oh, you don't know rickety rides until you've been to Hailing Island.
So it's very similar, isn't it?
It is. I imagine they have either knocked it down and rebuilt it, or they've just made it far more safe. But when I was younger, there was one. I think it's the big roller coaster, and I remember I finally had got to the height where I could go back and go on it. And the shaking and the noise that the roller coaster used to make, it was, I don't know, imagine the noise that your house would make if it was about to get ripped up by a tornado. And then now imagine being sat in it.
I don't think I ever went there because my family didn't go to Portsmouth.
Oh, okay. It's just
not allowed to go to Portsmouth.
I went to Portsmouth Art College, and at lunchtimes we would go down to the fun fair at Southsea and ride the rides. And
that sounds great.
That was but the Woolwich, because we went on the waltzer, and of course we were out of season some of the times as well, and it was only us on there. So of course they were all swinging us around like we got extra attention. That was all good fun. That was a productive lunch hour.
Doesn't Southsea, their roller coasters, doesn't it hang over the edge?
Yeah, and it's very rickety as well.
Oh, I think you're just not at the seaside if you're not on a death-defying roller coaster.
Very true.
I'm just now swamped with memories of near death and crying on the dodgems as a young child.
Oh, the dodgems, yeah, gosh, they yeah, and then someone always had one vendetta against somebody.
Well, I think
like,
you sort of make that.
You
make that decision in the queue. You're queuing up. You lock eyes with someone, and perhaps, I don't know, they've done something to annoy you in the queue. You're like, right, I'm coming for you, and then that's it. For the next 5 minutes, you're going crazy.
I remember a day out similar to this, Lou. I remember a day out in Southie. So yeah, so there's perhaps the kid that you lock eyes with, but also there's always someone that throws up. There's always someone that throws up on a ride.
What have you seen that while on the dodgems?
Not on the dodgems, no. On some of the rides that like swing in Southsea. There was a swing that like swung over the sea, and I think maybe that experience got too much for this kid, and of course other people always get covered in sick. It's more of a community thing than just an isolated event. So. But oh my gosh, dodgems! I'd love to go back on. And you know the fun fairs there. Again, I think there's something sort of strange about them. But like the lights and like the flashing bulbs and stuff. I guess probably because it's another carnival, but it's at the sea.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd love to go to one of them again. Honestly.
Yeah, the atmosphere that they have. I'm going to keep coming back to Hailing Island because that's basically my only experience. But in the child ride section, they have this massive tent, and it's very similar. Like you say, it's very similar to a circus. And they have all the lights and the big bulbs, and everything's just flashing. It's just sensory overload. But I think that does then transfer into the arcades. guess it's all a ploy to make you spend money.
Of course it is.
Obviously.
Are there any rides that have been banned? I haven't seen the biscuit tin in a while. Been on a biscuit tin?
What's the
What is
biscuit?
the biscuit tin?
Okay, so the biscuit tin is a giant. Imagine you've just got a biscuit tin shape, really big, and then it spins round, and then like the centrifugal force pushes you to the outsides, and then it lifts up and then goes.
Yeah, been on one of them. Yep.
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
goes
been on
up,
one of them.
and then you sort of. Yeah, I've not seen those in a while, but I'd love to go back on one.
Because everyone always slides to the side, don't they?
People
And-
slide. People try and get to the middle while like trying to fight the force. Some people go upside down. They were always scaring me because what if you lose your change and then you can't buy anything from the rip off that is the catch a duck game. Oh god, so many memories. I wanted to move on actually to what people have been up to during lockdown for themselves more than anything. We've had plenty of time to fill. I know, Louise, you've already mentioned that you've been painting and essentially decorating your own place, I guess. I just open floor. Anyone that wants to talk about anything they've been doing to keep themselves sane.
I've made a lot of masks as well. I've made a lot of masks for us to wear, and for my friends. So I've been finding fabric that has been interesting for other people. Mine are obviously predominantly yellow, and
Of course.
there are no many on the market that are yellow. I find that strange. So and a few of my friends obviously have now got a yellow mask, but embellishing them with beads and things so that they can wear something that's more interesting than just the masks that are around there. So I've made a lot of masks.
How do you make the masks? Are they? Do you have like a sewing machine or?
Yeah, I've stolen my mum's sewing machine and borrowed on a permanent basis. And yeah, I found a pattern on the internet and I've been making them. I do so anyway. Yeah, and I have a lot of beads. I do make jewelry, so I've been embellishing them so that so it feels like it's a proper piece of your outfit. Because gone with people that they've a fabric that they would enjoy. So that it makes it a bit more interesting rather than a chore to wear the mask.
That's great. I didn't know you did jewelry. Like you make jewelry, did you
Yes.
say?
Yes, I dabble with beads and wire, and I put beads on cards, and I make cards as well. So I put beads on cards as well. So yeah,
Louise, you're hiding all these talents. I had
just
no
something
idea.
I've always done.
You're just dropping the little tidbits into conversation.
Yeah. And of course, the other thing I did, I had an accident with my hair clippers, my new hair clippers. I've never shaved my hair before or cut my hair before, and was a necessity during lockdown. And of course, I had the mistake of not putting a guard on, and I shaved all my hair off. So then, eventually, learned a new skill of how to make a headdress out of scarves, so that I could keep my head warm.
Yeah, I wish I learned that skill as well, Louise.
I can teach you.
Yeah, please do, because I'm gonna need it.
You shaved
That
your head
was
again, Piers.
No, no. I shaved my head like Louise at the beginning, thinking very stupidly. I thought, oh, this will grow back in 8 weeks. It grew maybe like 5 millimeters in 8 weeks. I thought, oh dear, this is regrettable.
What have I done?
So I'm I've learned a lot about patience, and that's something I shouldn't do for some time. So yeah, that's helped or not helped pass the time. Waking up in the morning, looking in the mirror, going, "Oh no, why?"
I mean, because you do a lot of illustration charcoal-based works, don't you, Piers?
Yes, I draw a lot.
Has your stresses of your shaved head encouraged any of that work? I mean,
I'm always stressed when I'm drawing. But no, I will admit that drawing, I don't think I've ever been so productive since leaving university, especially with drawing. So that was really good, and I guess just having the confidence to buy certain materials. I think at university you've got so many, you've got a lot of equipment there to use. Like because I really enjoyed printmaking, I don't have an etching press, and acid and stuff like that. So I had to try and, with what I have at home, do something simple like monoprinting. And also, luckily, Amy talked about making things out of paper clay. So that was new to me. And then I had made tiny little ceramic like figures or sort of fragments. And also, Amy got me into wood carving, which I then had to stop because I cut my hand.
Oh no!
Remember? Like, yeah, it was like crazy deep, and I was like, "Oh, Mum!"
Oh,
And it was on crack with blood. So I'm there squeezing this thing. Oh, yeah, terrible, absolutely terrible. But
Oh
yeah,
no!
I'm yet to carve one of those Dala horses, which are those like Norwegian folk horses that are in wood. So I'm a bit scared to carve that yet. But yeah,
I
otherwise,
tell you need you need a sharper knife. Ironically,
yeah, I mean, Amy, you're totally right.
You need
And then from Amy learning what a hazel plant or hazel tree looks like, I think I'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
yeah.
What
Just
can
because
we
they
go
grow
back?
fast and grow very straight, usually.
They do. That's very true.
You can. Not that I'm saying you should chop one down if you don't know who owns the tree or the land, but they
God.
grow very fast. They get coppiced, don't they?
They do. Yeah.
And they're good. They're just easily accessible for carving.
Amy's chopping them down all the time. It sounds.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No comment. No comment.
May or may not have cut some small pieces down many years ago.
Last week.
Extinction Rebellion, Amy. I'm not sure they want you on their side anymore.
Can we just go back to the? Can we just go back to the paper clay? What's that?
Oh, so it's air drying clay, isn't it, Amy? So
yeah,
like proper clay look, you need like a kiln.
Mm-hmm.
You like, and also some people make stuff out of clay or bronze, and then they have to, clay, and then they cast it in bronze. And just Amy got this clay, and she just left it out to dry. And I thought, oh, well, that's not too bad. So just anything that you can do in your house that's more convenient and enables you to make things without having these incredibly expensive tools or equipment. So yeah, it's just clay that dries. So keep it wet and then sculpt it, and then
can you use it in the same way that you could throw it down on a potter's wheel?
Somewhat, but it's different. Like Amy, you said, and I think I agree with this. It doesn't. You can't really stick things with it very well.
Yeah, it doesn't like to stick to itself when it's wet.
Okay.
Which is odd. It's mostly modelling clay, really. It's for practicing ideas and or having a go at sculpting with something, and you get something at the end. And if you paint it and varnish it and leave it like in your house, I'm sure it'll be fine. I've covered some glass jars with it, and then use the glass jars as plant pots now.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it just looks a bit cuter than a glass jar.
You're so resourceful, Amy.
That's me, big brain. But I have varnished one and then left it outside over the winter, and I forgot about it, and it's disintegrated, even with the varnish on, just completely disintegrated.
What, like, it's just crumbled away, or?
It's completely, like, where water's got in, it's just started dissolving the clay again, because it's never going to be fired or anything. It's all, it's not proper clay. But
yeah, you work with clay, don't you, Louise?
Fun resource.
I have worked with clay, and I've used the modelling clay that Amy said about as well. But yes, that won't go outside. But you could use it and keep it indoors, and like you say, varnish it and paint it, and keep it indoors. It just feels when you're using it, it just feels a little bit drier than standard clay that you're using, a little bit less malleable. But it's it's good. It's good for me to an end to actually make things and, like you say, learn. And I made little maquettes. My mum carves wood, and so that she can get the idea of what it will look like. She see a picture of something, I'll make a little maquette out of the dry clay, so that when she makes it out of, she's got a drawing and the little maquette to use as reference to carve in her own things.
Oh, that's cool. That's a really
Yeah.
good use of
What
art.
does she make? Like carve?
There's a beautiful sculpture on Jersey we saw it last year, and it's two hands. So like one's coming up from the ground, the other's coming down, and they're in a like a handshake. And it's about a vessel that went down just outside of just off the rocks where they were. And she really wanted to do that. So for a beginner as she is, it was fantastic. So these two hands clenched, and she's doing some treble clefs. She's done some flowers, and she's doing a seahorse at the moment. So very proud of her to take on the projects.
Mm.
But she's really enjoying it.
Is that something that she's done during lockdown, or is that she's always
She's
always
been
done
doing
that?
it the last couple of years. It's been since she's retired, and so she's taken that on as a new skill.
That's amazing. Has anyone here developed a new skill during lockdown?
I've gone on the computer. I've learned how to use internet.
You've become a
This
bit of a tech
for
wizard, haven't you,
me,
Louise?
a revelation. I'm on a podcast, for goodness sake. That's amazing.
You're on a podcast. You got Instagram posts coming out your ears.
Exactly.
You are knocking down barriers left, right, and centre.
You didn't have an Instagram before this year, did you?
No, didn't know what that meant.
What is a Instagram? Amy, picked up anything new?
Other than the clay, not particularly. I spent most of the summer working.
You're at the hospital as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I started working on the doors at the hospital to manage the amount of people inside the waiting rooms, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Limiting the amount of people inside the hospital at any one time.
Protecting the Banksy.
Protecting the Banksy. Oh, yeah.
Get your hands off. Are you looking at that painting? Is it not a painting? What is it?
It is a painting.
Oh, it is?
It's sort of a charcoal on canvas. My personal opinion is it's not very good.
Okay.
But
you should have tried stealing it.
Nah, it's got very awkward fixings on it.
You've been assessing it?
Because, I would, wouldn't I?
Of course you would.
I'm a technician at an art gallery, so yeah, I figured out what kind of fixings it's on the wall with. But no, you wouldn't be able to hoik it off very easily. Just if anyone's listening to this and thinking about it. Also, that would be very rude. It was donated to a hospital.
Of course, no one would ever imagine doing such a thing.
I did a night shift watching that Banksy, and at 4 a.m, because it was being watched 24 hours. And at 4 a.m, I had a nurse started asking loads of questions about it and getting quite irate about what the point of it was. And
oh, really?
Yeah, it was like being back at work.
Oh, at 4 a.m.
At the gallery, because I'd come back from a short break, and my colleague was talking to this guy. She was just not interested in the conversation with him, whereas I was like, you know what? I'm going to engage this conversation. He said, I don't get it. I don't get the point of it. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. It's rubbish.
I'm assuming he would rather have it was sold and then the money funded things at the hospital.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He saw it as a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
And whilst my personal opinion was it's not a particularly great piece of artwork, it has that big name attached to it. It has the publicity. It has the sort of it is a symbol of hope. And you know, it was a way to say thank you to the staff at the hospital. So the gesture is, I think, is lovely.
Maybe Banksy is from Southampton.
Well, I've heard rumours.
Really?
I've heard rumours.
Oh my.
Um,
Maybe he works at a hospital.
You should ask our friend Amy about it.
Okay.
Her dad reckons he's met him.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's going to go down as one of.
There's there's been Banksy pictures in Southampton before. He's donated to Southampton Hospital, so I imagine either he could be from here, or he has a member of family or someone who's very important to him.
A strong connection to the city.
Yeah, in the city or at the hospital or whatever.
Oh my god, we should start a detective series.
I don't think it's worth it. But it was interesting arguing with that nurse at 4 a.m. about contemporary art and its value. He was very upset with it, and I said, at the end of the day, when they sell it, it will make back all the money that they've spent on it. And because I imagine one day they'll sell it, or at least the publicity would do it good.
I think so.
So I can't remember the exact conversation now, but it was very funny. It was a while ago, and it was 4 a.m, so I probably forgot it. And by 7, when I got to leave that shift, I don't know how nurses do it. I don't know how doctors, nurses do these long shifts. It's genuinely
incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what they think about us. They go, God, how do they sit there all day and look at that?
Yeah. God, look there. He's reading again. How do they do it?
I've got it easy. Oh, jeez.
What? I can't believe you get a lunch break.
You're working in silence most of the time. It's just difficult. But I think that's definitely what I'm looking forward to most about going back, is actually speaking to people.
Yeah. Well, I had to learn, actually. No, one thing I did learn was how to be calm and assertive.
Okay. With regards to
some unpleasant patients at the hospital.
Okay.
Sounds like my security job.
Yeah. I think I got a taste of what you've done as well. People being very unpleasant towards you and very rude. But I think there was a moment where a man, because when I was working there, patients weren't allowed into the hospital until 15 minutes before their appointment, and they had to show their appointment letter with the time and where they'd need to go so I could direct them. A gentleman, a man, I wouldn't say gentleman, came up and sort of barged past the queue, because there was a queue building up. He just barged past, and I said, "Excuse me, sir, you need to go to the back of the queue." And he decided to argue with me. And I politely just said, "No, you need to go to the back of the queue." Eventually managed to convince him to go to the back of the queue. And when I got to serve him, he was very irate. And I said, "Can I see your letter? I just need to see the time of your appointment. I don't need to know any details or anything like that. Just the time of your appointment and the date of your appointment, so I can confirm that you should be at the hospital today."
Mm-hmm.
And he got very, very angry that I'd asked him for this information.
Really?
And he decided to wave his letter right in my face, like centimeters away from my nose. It was very, very rude, and I was quite proud of myself. I just held firm.
Yeah.
And basically I just scolded him and treated him like a 5-year-old.
Well, that's exactly like what he was behaving.
Yeah, exactly. And I said to him, "Look, if you behave like that to me again or any other member of staff, I will call security and you won't be going to your appointment." But learning the skill of remaining calm when someone's being obscenely rude to you for no reason.
I look forward to seeing that at the gallery.
Well, we don't often get characters like that at the gallery, so
no, I think I've only had to deal with one member of the public in what sounds to be a very similar fashion. They even wave something at my face, and like you say, they're acting like a child, and they just
treat them like a child.
Yeah, pretty much.
I didn't think I'd be doing that over the summer.
No, well, I think working at a hospital. Sounds like it was a huge benefit for you, at least.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I've not done anything really new, at least. Because Piers, you mentioned that you've worked more than you have since university. Is that right? That we said?
Yeah, and I guess just to add to like what Amy was saying, outside of work, me and Amy both did some library sort of stuff, and that was all right.
Yes.
New, yeah. I mean, yeah. Maybe not as crazy as something in the hospital. But yeah, we still even had to deal with some strange people coming in and out and who weren't allowed on site. That was just exciting. But yeah, no. The library work at the Hartley Library was quite fun, actually.
It's quite nice to meet other members of the university arts team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we are part of the university and part of the university library and arts is our like department name. So it's nice to meet other people that they all thought that we would know each other.
Oh, really?
I find it quite interesting that I think Bill was the manager was saying, "Oh, don't you know so and so who runs the gallery at Hartley Library?" And I said, "No, I've never had any contact with them. It's a completely different world." So it was quite nice to make those connections and talk to people in that light. Yeah, they just expected us to have known the gallery staff or the art team at the library.
Yeah. I think I've only met maybe two, maybe one or two people from the library, and that's only from I can't even remember what meeting it was now. God, that's bad. I think it was to do with well-being and engagement. I think let's go with engagement. And she was telling me all about the stuff they have at the library and all these sort of documents, and it's like an archive of this, just a huge amount of information. And I was meaning to go down there, but I mean, now with COVID, I'm apprehensive about going in there, but it just sounded incredible. And the library is massive, though, isn't it?
It's huge. I obviously when me and Piers were there, we were only in the doorway, but essentially,
and the doorway was massive.
But I was, told that the rest of the library went on the building we were in, and then it was connected to the building behind.
Oh God.
It's a massive resource. I mean, it would be for a huge university.
Yeah, that's very true.
Southampton is, but I didn't quite realise.
Trying to think, yeah. Well, back to if we've learned anything new. I was just I was going to say that I've not learned anything new, but I've definitely stagnated in terms of creative output. That's for sure. I think we've all responded differently, and it's amazing to hear and see people that have wanted to make more work or new work and learn stuff, new skills, if you like. But I have a twin sister. She is also a photographer. She's been going crazy. She's been doing all sorts. She does tintypes. She was going to teach me, but I didn't get there in time while she was on a week off. And I don't want to do it on my own because I will break something. But I don't know. It's just been difficult for me personally to make new work. I don't know why.
I'm with you there.
I think I'm very encouraged and stimulated by the presence and discussion with other people about work or things that interest you. So I think being separated from that so much, don't get me wrong, we've all met up and we've had good conversation when we have seen each other, but I don't know, when it comes to the creative spark, it's definitely been missing.
I agree. I've been very unmotivated in making work. I think particularly because what I was making would involved the idea that someone would physically interact with what I was doing. Like I
Mhm.
would normally want to host an event where I'd get people around a table and we'll talk about something. So making anything just kind of has felt very pointless to me.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't even have those limitations on the work that I'd be making.
It's a hard time for everyone though. Like
Yeah.
just to even function normally is difficult for some at the moment.
I have been out. I'm going out on Sunday. I think, yeah, because for me, going out and taking photographs of anything that interests me, I've not had a project of work. I did start a project, and that sort of slowly stopped. But I've not had a real project of work like you would have at university that you would set your sights on in a good while. So whenever I do go out to make work, it's definitely more therapeutic based. And I think I referenced that in the post that we had for Piers' new section on the website. So I just want to go out and take pictures to relax, I guess. Because I think we've spent so much time on screens, and myself especially, and I'm not afraid to admit it, I have spent so much time on my bloody computer. It's unreal. I do look forward to going out and just, even if it's taking pictures that no one's ever going to see.
Did you not do a project for Skate Southampton?
I'm like, yeah, you're right, I did. But that's different in the sense that it wasn't for, obviously it was for personal gratification. That's not the word, but I enjoyed doing it. But work that is for me, that makes sense.
Okay.
Because the work, although I was doing it, it was work for Skate Southampton and that whole project that they were doing, which is great, by the way. I'll come back to that. That's a great point. Thank you. But I think just in terms of my own photographic area, it's been lacking, and it is frustrating. But I think it's important to talk about those frustrations because, like you say, many people are going through the exact same thing, and it's good to let people know that they're not the only one, I guess.
Especially when you hear, you've seen creatives online putting out more work and a lot of like influencers being like, well, you might have the time now to do this and this and this, and whereas some people, we might have the time, but the headspace is very different.
Definitely.
Things that influence us are different, aren't they?
Yeah.
Things that motivate us to produce the work are different. We're all different, producers. I'm in, but when we're doing the masks, it was more of an inspiration to do for others and to produce things for others, and that was more of an inspiration as to just make the mask as a product, so that that was like an interaction with people, and to physically give them the mask was something that bonded me with them through the lockdown rather than actually creating work.
Yeah, it's more about that sense of community, I guess.
Yeah.
I think my own personal feelings is that I feel the need to do something that is useful in a practical sense.
Okay.
Whilst art is, wonderful, and obviously I make art and I enjoy it, it's not, I don't feel like I can get anything essential out of it.
No.
So making an artwork for me in a time of crisis feels, for me, not useful, because I would rather be making something or doing something that is needed and practical. But that is my own personal outlook on this sort of thing. Yeah. Whereas some people, creating art in a crisis is a way to process emotion, feeling, and get whether you promote it afterwards and try and sell it or anything like that. That is a way to process the feelings and things that are happening at the moment.
Mm.
And because artworks are so personal, when you're feeling in a feeling of despair at the moment because we can't look forward and we can't do anything, it's difficult to produce a piece of work that isn't full of that kind of emotion. So to detach from doing your own work, to do other things, to produce for others, makes it easier to do.
I think so.
That's a very good point.
Mm.
But yeah, in relation to what you said about the Skate Southampton project, Amy, and I guess it ties into your comment just then about community. Yeah, the engagement team, Skate Southampton, and Jed, the wonderful Jed Wells, who is part of Skate Southampton.
Yes.
They have all put together a wonderful project about it's called Safe Spaces Southampton, and it's a project that is aiming to generate conversation about these non-spaces, quotation marks, within the city that we're encouraging people to respond to and talk about and maybe generate ideas about how they can be changed, I guess, to become more community-based or safer, like it is in the title. I photographed those spaces for the project, and there's a resource pack that's available on the website, jhg.art, once again. And you can find that, you can respond to that, and there's loads of illustrations that Jed's put together to sort of give you a backboard, if you like, to produce ideas. And it's an incredible project. All the images are available around Southampton. They're in various locations. Once again, you can find that on the website. I'm hoping that the work can be extended in terms of how long it's on display for because of bloody lockdown. But we shall see. But that is available as of at the moment, at least, until the end of the month. We've not got too long, but I'm hoping it will get extended or at least left up so people can see it.
I assumed it would be left up. Yeah.
I think it would because the work was basically went up the day after lockdown started. And I wouldn't say the work is intrusive in any way for these places, and they've not been open, so it's not been in the way for them. Some of them are even outside, so we shall see. But it's a brilliant project. If anyone is interested in the community in Southampton and wants to see these spaces changed, or maybe you've got ideas for certain places within the town, it's definitely something that you should look at getting interested in. You can find more information on the Instagram that we've got. It's all over the place. But yeah, I just wanted to plug that for the podcast because why not? Yeah.
I love the amount of yellow on the posters.
Oh, there's an incredible amount of yellow. I thought you'd like that, Louise.
Yeah.
Big fan. Well, with metrics, you get the double yellow. The yellow with the sign.
Yeah.
And the yellow on the poster.
Yeah. But it does mean that your eye is drawn to them as well. So they actually, they're pieces that you actually would want to see because they're quite stand out in some of the areas. Some of the pictures I've seen as to where they are in Southampton, they actually stand out. So they would attract attention as well. Which I think is a good thing. And
I'm hoping that's the case. And I've not been on the inside scoop as to what the response has been yet, but I do hope that many people are discussing this because the aim was that it was going to be part of community takeover, which if the pandemic hadn't happened, it would have been happening in, I'm not sure what month, but it would have happened already this year. So hopefully community takeover happens again, which, as we'll all remember, was a very successful, was it a month long?
Yeah, a month.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
It was great. It was so good. It's going to be happening again, hopefully next year.
It was something that really felt like the people of Southampton were involved with the gallery, where the gallery can feel like this white cube space that some may feel alienated by, but I loved it.
No, and having the voice of the community and relating back to what I mentioned about the Instagram posts and what Piers said with personality coming through in posts, it produced this space where people in the city can discuss or show what we have to offer. And obviously we're leading up to the City of Culture 2025, so that's all kicking off now, which is great to see. And I remember, again, related to what we were talking about with the Seaside and having access, there was a I don't know what to call it, but it was like a big meeting, and we had each of us on a table, and there was loads of people from around the town doing like a circuit of the tables, and we were writing it down, the sort of ideas that people had for what they wanted to see in the city, and having access to the Seaside was huge. Because Seaside Town, no access really. What's going on? Lots of community action going on at the moment, which is great to see, and it's encouraging, because when we're all isolated from each other, it's nice to still feel that sense of community. Not necessarily in the same way, but in a more modern way, I guess, if you like. That makes sense. Well, I think we can head towards closing up there, guys. I don't know if there's anything else that anyone wants to discuss. The resounding silence tells me no.
Again next week.
Yeah, that's all.
I think we're all gearing up for next week. Very excited. We look forward to seeing everyone coming into the show.
Please come back.
Please come back.
Book your tickets in advance.
Yes, book your tickets in advance on Eventbrite. They will become
quicker than coming in, making us do it. Promise.
It is a lot quicker.
Slow. We are very slow.
We're slow.
Sorry.
The system is slow. It's Eventbrite. Sort your stuff out. Come on. But yeah, book your tickets online. We can do it in person if you so desire. We look forward to seeing everyone coming in. The show is beautiful, in my opinion. I'm sure many others will share that. It's on till the 16th of January. I'm not sure if that will be extended.
It's been extended a week to the 25th.
Okay, is that confirmed? Is that double confirmed?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. So there's going to be plenty of time once we open next week to see the show. I think we're open loads over Christmas. I think
should be, yeah.
There's only like 5 days that we're closed.
Potential extra opening hours as well, so...
Yeah, you may even see us on a Sunday or Monday.
Maybe.
But all that information will become clear in due course, I'm sure. But thank you everyone for joining me today. Louise, thank you for being so fresh and delightful on the podcast today.
Thank you.
I hope you had a good
joy.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. Thank you. And we should all speak to you soon.